Baldur's Gate Game of the Year sweep, let's go! You Spider-Man glizzy gobblers. Oh, Spider-Man should have been Game of the Year. You! Baldur's Gate sweep! You should have gotten Performance of the Year. No, he shouldn't have. Asterion sweep! Dude, Spider-Man got beat by a vampire twink. You idiots! You! Baldur's Gate, let's fucking go! What is up, gamers with the Y? It is me, Daniel. I am standing today, and you can once again not see my legs, because they aren't real. Hopefully you're doing good today. I'm doing great! Happy holidays, everyone. Hopefully they were good. This video might be going out before or after New Year's, so if it's past the New Year, Happy New Year! First video of 2024. I'm getting old. Getting old. I'm gonna be 22 in 2024. That's not that old. I say to make myself feel better. Today, everyone, we are here to talk about the apex of entertainment. We are here to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Not actually. We're not here to talk about D&D, but something that it's created. Baldur's Gate 3, if you couldn't tell from the intro. Recently, the Game of the Year awards happened, and Baldur's Gate 3 got Game of the Year, as it should have. I said this months ago that Baldur's Gate 3 would get Game of the Year. Fine clip. I swear to God, I was right. But in all seriousness, congratulations to Baldur's Gate 3. It is one of the greatest video games, if not the greatest video game ever. That is high praise, and it is warranted. Don't believe me? Go play it. It's amazing. Is it for everyone? No. But Baldur's Gate 3, in truth, is one of the most in-depth created freeform sandbox games you could ever play. They have thought of solutions to problems I have not even begun to conceptualize. And they did this simply so you could do whatever the fuck you wanted, and that's amazing. And do whoever the fuck you wanted. Ooh. Now that brings me to the topic of today's video. Today, everyone, we're gonna be ranking the companions from Baldur's Gate 3! When I say companions, I mean all the love interests, but specifically only the ones that can join your party. So this does not include the Drow twins or the Emperor! You freaks! If he was on the list, though, he'd be D tier. He's not F tier because it's, you know, interesting. Listen, I have played so much Baldur's Gate. I've beaten the game 5 times. I've put in well over 200 hours. I love this game, and I wanted to talk about it. So now you're gonna sit there and fucking listen, please. Also, before we start, make sure to like and subscribe. I would very much appreciate that because then I can make more videos like this, and hopefully you guys like these kinds of videos. So anyways, today, everyone, we are going to be ranking all the Baldur's Gate 3 companions on a tier list. Now, we have to have some kind of baseline, some kind of, what's the word we're looking for? Scoring system. Yeah, scoring system. So the way these characters are going to get ranked are based off of these couple qualities. Number 1, personality and romanceability. Every single companion you are able to get in Baldur's Gate 3 is romanceable. At least I'm pretty sure. Second, combat ability. Now in Baldur's Gate 3, when you create a character, you get to choose a class. This class then dictates kind of how you play the game combat-wise. Wizards cast spells. Pew, 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 freaking nerds. Barbarians hit shit hard. Now for these companions, they have a set base class. In Baldur's Gate 3, you level up this class gaining new abilities, but you are also able to multi-class, getting different classes as well. You may also just get rid of the initial class altogether and just get a different one. Now, for simplicity's sake, we're gonna just keep them with the baseline class that they have. And I know Shadowheart is better as a druid or a paladin than that fucking cleric, but listen, we're not talking about that today, okay? And third, vibes. Listen, this is a subjective tier list. That is correct, by the way. I'll have you know. But honestly, it's all up to my discretion. So I'm going to say whatever I want. Fuck you. And if I rank your favorite companion low on the list, just know that you got bad taste. Anyways, let's jump into this tier list, shall we? Yippee! Today, everyone, we're going to start off with Lael. Lael is a Githyanki fighter that you meet first in the game. If you don't know, in Baldur's Gate, you're abducted by a bunch of mind flayers along with all the rest of the people. One of the people is Lael. Now, Gith in Baldur's Gate 3 are racist. The Gith live in this place called the Astral Sea, which they are dedicated to fighting the mind flayers and illithids, that's what they're also called, and basically think that the Githyanki are the superior race. Here's a picture of Lael. She looks a little bit like a frog, but if a frog was hot. Listen, when I started playing Baldur's Gate, I hated Lael. I'm like, why would I like a fascist? Why would I like someone who's racist? Like, why in a fantasy game that I get to play and spend my time on, but I want to waste it on a fake racist person. I don't want to do that. Literally, first 3 times I played the game, I murdered her. Literally did not give a fuck. Just stab, dead. Did not like her. But then I got to know her more. In the Githyanki culture, the Gith worship this one queen known as the Lich Queen. And she promises the Githyanki that if they serve her well, they will ascend to another plane of existence. What they don't know is that this queen is a fucking liar and rules over all the Githyanki by using fear and oppression. We don't like Vlakis. Is it Vlakis or Vlathis? I don't remember. I don't even care. Fuck her. She sucks. Now, what I figured out is that Lael isn't racist because she wants to. It's all she knows. It's a learned behavior. And here's the thing. No one is born evil. No one's born racist. But she was taught to be by the society around her and the queen that promised her ascension. And by continuing with Lael through your story in Baldur's Gate, she unlearns this and realizes that her queen was wrong. Or you can really buy into it and just stay really racist. Why would you want to do that though? But point being, Lael, you can fix her. So that's number 1. Number 2, combat ability. Fighters in Dungeons & Dragons or Baldur's Gate is just one of the better melee classes. At level 2, you get Action Surge, which is like the best ability in all of Dungeons & Dragons. It's a little less good in Baldur's Gate, but still very good, where you basically get to take another action, which is awesome. Lael gets Action Surge very early on and has a lot of damage she can output with Fighter. She gets multi-attack at level 5. She is an absolute powerhouse and a tank if you build her correctly. So combat ability, whoo, 10 out of 10. Last off, we got vibes. Here's the thing. Lael is a distrustful and disdainful person because that is who she was taught to be. And in the game of Baldur's Gate, it is up to you to help her unlearn that behavior. So this really goes into the whole thing of like, well, do I want to fix my partner? Do I really like, is this my responsibility? Is it my duty? Personally, I am a very emotional person, and trying to make someone go to, I am the master race, to, okay, I'm a reasonable person, that's gotta be really draining, right? So even for Lael's great story and, you know, unlearning her racist behavior, Lael is gonna sit squarely at a D tier. Sorry, Lael, you are very attractive. Your story is very compelling. I just couldn't deal with it. I'm just not ready to take on that kind of accountability to gentle parent an alien that's trying to kill me. Anyways, if you play Baldur's Gate, pick up Lael. Really good character, really good fighter. Just not my cup of tea. Next up, we get Shadowheart. Shadowheart is the second companion you meet throughout the game, and I believe is the most romanced NPC in the game. Please fact check me on that. Shadowheart is a goth girl. Yes! Let's fucking go! Shadowheart is a cleric of Shar, the goddess of darkness, deceit, and pain. Very much like a nihilistic religion where it's just like, we'll all suffer anyways. Oh, life is bad. Oh. That whole spiel and shenanigan. And Shadowheart, as a part of her religion, has her memory wiped for a long period of time. She doesn't really know who she is, nor her origins, and she's kind of sad about it. But she's also been tasked with stealing this device from the Illithids and bringing it back to Baldur's Gate. When you meet Shadowheart, she's tied up in a nautiloid pod and is gonna get turned into a mind flayer until you save her. She's also the first companion you find after falling off the ship. In Act 1, Shadowheart's very, you know, cagey, you know, as you should, stranger danger. And I'm gonna be real, she gets on my nerves a little bit. There's this one dialogue very specifically where she basically tries to like gaslight you into like saying what she, it's really weird. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a really weird dialogue. You know what I'm talking about. But also in Act 1, she has one of the earliest romanceable options where you guys go off together, have some wine, and kiss. It's really cute. Shadowheart is trying her best to be bad, but at her core is not. At her core, she's a genuine good person who wants to do good things. But through her learned behavior, she's trying to be evil, if that makes sense. Also, I just want to mention real quick, all Baldur's Gate 3 characters are tied to some kind of trauma in some kind of different way. So if that's a little triggering, click off this video. I'm going to be talking about it a lot. But at her core, Shadowheart is not a bad person, but she's really trying to be because that's what her goddess says. Shadowheart doesn't reveal a lot to you about her past throughout the game, mainly because she doesn't fucking know. Because again, Shar took those memories from her. Now in Act 2 of the game, you head to the Gauntlet of Shar. And the purpose of this gauntlet is to make Dark Justiciars the highest form of worship in the Shar religion. Shadowheart really wants to become a Dark Justiciar. She really wants to show her devotion to this god. So she asks you like, hey, I really want to do this. Can we? And of course I said yes. Of course I'm a sucker. Of course I like her. She's pretty. So you guys go and do the gauntlet together, right? Now at the very end of this gauntlet, you guys are teleported to the Shadowfell, where this thing is. Through many points of the game, you're tasked with getting this thing called the Night Song, which is a supposed very powerful artifact keeping one of the big bad evil guys alive. But when you get to the Shadowfell, you realize that the Night Song is not an artifact, but an Aasimar, a person. Her mother, Selûne, has given her the gift of immortality, and the big bad evil guy is using that ability to make himself immortal. Now, at this point is a very big turning point for Shadowheart's story. Shadowheart can choose to kill the Night Song under the orders of Shar and become a Dark Justiciar, or she can reject Shar and save the Night Song. Now, the right option, the good one, is to have Shadowheart reject Shar and save the Night Song. She's then punished by Shar, which sucks, but then she has this resolve about her. She wants to go back to the Temple of Shar and find out about what happened to her. The Night Song also reveals that Shar took her parents and whatnot, and they're being held captive, blah, 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 shenanigans. Or, again, you could kill the Night Song and keep Shar very evil Dark Justiciar. It's actually really funny. She dyes her hair white if you choose not to kill the Night Song, but she keeps her hair emo if you do it. It's really funny. Act 3, anyways, if you choose good Shadowheart, you go to the Temple of Shar and you find that her parents are there and they're being tortured by Shar for eternity. And you can either choose to try and save them or kill them and put them out of their misery. Regardless of what you choose, Shadowheart comes out of it a better, wiser, healthier person. She knows her past now. She knows what happened. She rejects Shar, and I think, at least I'm pretty sure, becomes a follower of Selûne. I think so. I don't quote me on that. Maybe. I think so. But through this process, Shadowheart is willing to open up to you more and be more kind and loving. Again, just like Lael, she is unlearning behavior that she has been taught because that's the only thing she knows. She's never really known love or warmth. She only knows hate and darkness and emo. So her opening up to the game really feels genuine, even though it's scripted and a computer. Shadowheart, in my opinion, is one of the better romanceable companions because her story is really fleshed out and is just done very well. I don't know, man. It's just good. Next up, we move to Section 2, Combatability. Okay, so the nickname that a lot of people have given Shadowheart is Shart because it's short for Shadowheart. And that's how I'm going to describe her combatability. Oh my god, it is so fucking bad, dude. Cleric Shadowheart cannot hit anything. I don't know what it is, but it's consistent across multiple different fucking people's games. For some goddamn reason, Shadowheart can't hit shit. I don't know why. And it's like, it'll say like 80% chance to hit, and she'll miss 4 times in a row. Like, what the actual fuck is going on? But she's a cleric, so she's very good at healing. And that's really all you're gonna use her for, except for maybe Spike Growth if you change her domain to Nature Cleric. Trickster Cleric is not very good. I don't know why they started her out as that. Nature Cleric is like much better. Anyways, we're talking about base, but Shadowheart at base, not very combat effective, but very good at healing. So if you have Shadowheart on your team, you're going to find that you're really only going to be using her for heal botting and then sometimes like a guiding missile or whatever. I don't remember what this was. Guiding bolt. It's really all you're going to be using her for. Third, we got vibes. Shadowheart is undeniably beautiful. She's also a prime example of, again, I can fix her. And guess what? You can. Again, as I said earlier, all the Baldur's Gate 3 companions are the result of some kind of trauma or traumatic experience. For Shadowheart, it was her being indoctrinated into an emo death cult that raised her and showed her no love and no warmth or pity. And again, you're teaching her that and you're showing her that. But rather than going from racist to not racist, you're going from I feel like I am unlovable to be I am deserving of love. That is a much more plausible jump, if that makes sense. And yes, she's a bit of a dick, but it's because she's afraid of getting close to anyone and tries to push people away before she can get close to them. It's a trauma response. Duh. Again, her combat ability is not very good, but if you do change her class, change it to Paladin or Druid, it is just so much better. But we're not talking about that. Vibe-wise, Shadowheart's pretty good. Personally, I'm going to put Shadowheart at A tier. She can be a little toxic in the beginning, but if you can get past that, which I did, she's awesome. Next, we are moving on to Will, the Warlock. Will is definitely one of the most underrepresented characters in the Baldur's Gate 3 fandom. And the reason why is because people are racist. I'm joking, not really. But I think a big reason why Will isn't looked at as a favorite more often than not is because his story doesn't really pick up till the last third of the game, which sucks because Will is such a cool character and has such a cool design. Will is known as the Blade of Frontiers. He is a hero throughout the land, and he kills demons and bad guys. Little does everyone know, he's a warlock, and his contract is with a demon. So when Will is contracted to kill another companion, which I obviously didn't do, we're gonna get to her later, Will refuses and is turned into a demon himself. And he's not happy about that. Why would he be? But after this story beat, which is in Act 1, Will doesn't really have much more until Act 3. In Act 1, you learn that he's actually the son of the Duke of Baldur's Gate, Duke Ravengard. So that's cool, but you you don't actually meet Duke Ravengard or have anything to do with his backstory until Act 3, which is probably 40 hours later, which is insane. But then it gets really cool because you go and save his dad and everything, and he's like, my son made a deal with a demon? That's stupid. And then you show his dad why he did it. Like, I did it to save the people of Baldur's Gate. I did it to help people. And his dad's like, I am so sorry. There's a dragon that lives beneath Baldur's Gate. Go get help. And then that's a whole other thing. And it's so cool. It's just really unfortunate that it takes so long to get to that point. Now, Will, personality-wise, is awesome. He is emotionally stable, unlike almost the rest of all the characters in Baldur's Gate. He has a healthy mindset. He has a skin routine. He goes to therapy. This man is so mentally healthy, except for a slight savior complex. But the place where that savior complex comes from is not unfounded, and he uses his powers to help people. Even when he's turned into a demon, he's still trying to help you and everyone else around him. But not to say I help people, but because he genuinely cares. Will is one if not the most stable companion in Baldur's Gate 3. Does he have daddy issues? Yes, but he doesn't really dwell on that much. But his daddy issues aren't really that big. He's just kind of like, yeah, my dad kind of hates me, but you know, that's just kind of life. There's other things I have to do. And he moves on, and he's healthy. It doesn't sound like but he is, trust me. Now, combat-wise, warlocks in this game are pretty decent. As long as you're building them around your Eldritch Blast, Warlocks are great, which is what I obviously did. I love power building, so I did that. If you get Repelling Blast and Agonizing Blast on your Eldritch Blast, you're going to be doing so much damage with Will. Literally, Warlocks work on the Charisma stat. Will is so charisma. He's so charisma. He's so charismatic, and he's so charming. He's just such a good guy. His romance scenes are so cute. He does this like little dance. He's like, want to join me? Will is emotionally stable, and I love him. That being said, moving to vibes, I don't know how to describe it, but there are some people out there that I can just never imagine having sex. Will is one of those people. I don't know what it is, but like, I feel like he's just a Ken doll down there. Do you get what I mean? Like, there are some people I know IRL, and I'm like, you don't have sex. You just don't. It's not like because they don't get any game or anything. They just like, you don't. I don't understand. I don't know how to describe it, but Will, I could just never see having sex. I just see him as this like lone asexual entity that is too good for this world. Hi, this is Danny a day later. I forgot to mention something that I think is really important about Will's story arc, so I'm going to talk about it real quick. At the end of Will's story arc, you get to choose whether he, 1, gives up his pact and is no longer a demon, or 2, he keeps his pact and saves his father. The reason I want to talk about this real quick is that Will, throughout his entire story, doesn't really get to make any decisions for himself. He is always at the whims of a greater power or a greater purpose that he's set upon. I just wanted to mention that real quick. It really kind of takes away from his character because he doesn't feel like an autonomous person all the time, even though he's a very good person. I just wanted to mention that real quick. Anyways, back to the video. What? Anyways, I'm putting Will at a B tier because his story is a little lackluster compared to the others, but I still really like him as a character. So, good job, Will. B tier. Next, we're moving to Gail. Oh boy, do I have some things to say about Gail. Gail is a wizard. I don't think I should say anymore. Let's talk a little bit about Gail's backstory. Gail used to have a relationship with the goddess of magic, Mistra. Now, that's fucking crazy. I'm not gonna talk about the fact that he might have been groomed by the goddess of Mistra when he was a young boy to become her partner or whatnot. That's a whole other issue. But Gail has lived this entire life trying to live up to a potential set for him. Gail has always been striving for a goal set by others. An arbitrary trophy he is reaching for his entire life because other people said it was his duty to do so. And in trying to accomplish these crazy fucking goals, Gail got himself into a bit of a pickle. Inside of Gail's body is a nuke. This is not a joke. There is a nuke in his body. And if Gail doesn't eat enough magical artifacts, that nuke will explode and kill everyone. So, I have some problems with Gail. Gail, in the beginning, comes on very strongly to you. It's very much like, oh, I'm a puppy, and you're the only person who has ever given me an ounce of positive attention. Please love me. Please, I beg you, I'll do anything. He needs attention. That's what he wants. That's his trauma. He needs people to love him, or at least pretend to. He feeds off of it. And unfortunately, that really turns me off from his character as a whole. Now, I understand where people are coming from the whole I can fix him standpoint, because you can. You can fix all of these characters. Gail is a codependent puppy at the beginning, but you can work with him and get better at it. Again, it's such a process to do so that I don't have the emotional energy to do that. Is he powerful? Yes, all wizards are. All wizards are super powerful. They are the best class in Dungeons & Dragons. Do not fucking... I will not hear it. They are the best. Don't debate me on this. I will win. But my point about this is that Gail needs other people to survive. Not in the way like, oh, you need human interaction, you know, be a happy person. He needs other people to give him attention, negative or positive. Otherwise, he will curl up into a ball and wither away. And personally, I don't fuck with that. You can confront Mystra later on and Gail can kind of talk about his trauma and everything. But personally, it's a little lackluster in my opinion. And here's the thing. There are lots of Gail defenders out there. And I hear you. You're actually all crazy. Are you as crazy as the Astarian defenders? Debatable. We'll see. Gail, in my opinion, is not as much of an interesting character as the other ones. His backstory and root of trauma are kind of interesting, but personally, there's a lot more vibrancy and character in the other characters. Now, let's go to combat prowess. So Gail is a wizard. The wizard is the best class in Dungeons & Dragons. Cast fireball, magic missile, pew pew. Wizard is just a really good class, and Gail, as long as you pick like evocation, is just gonna be doing a shit ton of damage, especially from early on. Just make sure he doesn't get hit, because wizards are fucking sponges of damage. Now, if we go to vibes, Gail, again, as I said earlier, doesn't really do it for me. Is his romance story quest good? Yeah, they're alright. Are they as good as others? Kinda, not really. His dialogue and voice acting is very good and very well done. It really gives off pretentious, and I like that. But again, I just don't really vibe with the whole codependent thing. I've had enough trauma of my own that even in a video game, it irks me a little bit. I don't want to be his mother or father, okay? I don't want to be. That's just me. So if we're putting Gail on the tier list, we're going to put him down at a... Let's put him down at a C tier. Power level's good. Just don't really fuck with them. His combat prowess, phenomenal. I just don't fuck with his codependency. Anyways. Oh. Oh, yeah. Everyone, we're going to talk about Carla. Oh, Karlach. Oh, Karlach! Karlach is the best companion in Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just gonna say it. I love Karlach. Oh my god, muscle mommy. Karlach was a tiefling who got into the protection business and was eventually sold off to the Archduke of Avernus, Zariel. That's hell. Where her heart was then replaced with a engine and was then sent to go battle demons for eternity. The only thing that saved her was the Nautiloid ship that picked her up in hell and brought her back to normal land. Now, unfortunately, her infernal engine that has replaced her heart runs a little hot, and if she stays in the normal world too long, she will explode and die. That is a tragedy. But here's the thing. Karlach has already accepted this reality that she will one day die. And because of this, she is ready to live life to the fullest and best. Karlach has endured years of trauma battling demons in hell. Literal hell. She has gone through so much shit, and she is the kindest companion you will ever see. Straight off the rip, she is just funny and just nice. She just is happy to be alive and seeing other people. And her romance scenes. It's so sad. In the beginning of Karlach's romance storyline, you cannot touch her because her body runs so fucking hot from her heart that you will burn up if you touch her. So part of her story quest is collecting infernal iron scraps to upgrade her heart to cool it down a little bit. And the scene where you finally can touch her is so cute. I just give her a hug because no one has ever given her love. I just give her a hug because no one has touched her so lovingly in so long. And she is just grateful to be alive and to be held and to be loved. You go through the game and there's this looming threat over her head the entire time that she knows she's going to die eventually. And yeah, she's sad about it, but rather than moping around and being depressed like I think I would, she takes you on a date. A real date where you go get dinner and wine, and she takes you out and says, I just wanted to do this one more time because I don't think I'll ever be able to do this again. And I was like, Karlach! No! It is so sad. It is so fucking sad. And at the very end of the game, she is going to die. But rather than dying, you can go back to Avernus and kill demons for eternity with her. And I choose that ending every time because my queen is not dying. I love her so fucking much. Karlach is one of the most emotionally mature characters in all of Baldur's Gate. The only reason why I think Will beats her out is because she does have some unresolved anger issues towards the dude that sold her into slavery in hell, which is reasonable, I'd say. So honestly, she might actually move up to number 1 now that I'm saying this out loud. She is kind. She is empathetic. You know the whole thing thing where it's like, I have suffered so much, other people must suffer as well. Karlach take the position of, I have suffered so much. Why should anyone else have to suffer too? Her purpose for living is to bring justice and peace to those who can't do it themselves. She and Will just want to help people, and I love them. Now, combat ability, Karlach, in my opinion, is the best person to have on your team. You take Berserker Barbarian, which has been wildly buffed in Baldur's Gate 3 compared to regular Dungeons & Dragons, and you just let her go to town on the enemies. Oh my god, Berserker Barbarian is so fucking good in this game. She takes half damage, she deals so much, she can make 2 attacks by, like, is it level 3? She can multi-attack by level 2, like, by level 3 basically, then multi-attack, so 3 attacks per turn, and then if you multi-class her into fighter for action search, 6 attacks in 1 turn if you double up, oh my god! Karlach is the best combat companion you can get. Wizard is the best Dungeons & Dragons class. In my opinion, Berserker Barbarian is one of the, if not the, best melee class in Dungeons & Dragons. Is it actually? Probably not. I'm just biased because I love my girly pop. Alright, lastly, let's move on to vibes for Karlach. If I had to compare Karlach to a feeling, I would say hot cocoa sitting in front of a fire in the middle of a cabin in a snowy forest. I feel comfort. I feel home. I feel safe. Because she and her big fucking muscles are gonna protect me from all the evil around, and oh my god, I love her. Unfortunately, as a cis man, and as a realist, I must say, if Karlach existed IRL, I don't think Karlach would be pansexual. I do think Karlach is for the girlies. I love Karlach, but I don't know, man. I just don't think she likes men. But hey, it's a video game, and she chose me. Anyways, if we go to the ranking, Karlach is S tier. She is my baby girl. I am also her baby girl. She will carry me across the finish line and kill anyone who stands in our way. I love her. S tier. S tier. God, I love Karlach. Next up, we have Halsin. Okay, so this might be my most controversial take, but I have some words to say about Halsin. So I've read a lot of why people like Halsin. It's the whole big, burly woodsman, and that's pretty attractive, right? He can turn into a bear. He's super protective. He's in tune with nature. How could you not like that? So as someone who's played the game a bunch, I do not like Halsin at all. Halsin gives me the vibes of an older dude who, like, in his 20s used to fuck all the time. Like, this man used to get around, and, like, good for him. But he's gotten older, and now that he's like 55 or something, let's say, he exclusively chooses to try and sleep with only people in their 20s. He gives me that kind of vibe, and I don't like it. Like, everything he does is just overly charged sexually, and he comes on so fast, and he tries to join your already existing relationship, and I'm like, dude, hold the fuck on. I don't know, man. It just gives me, like, old dude only fucking with 18 to 20-year-olds, and I do not like it. Kind of a creep, in my opinion. His ending is also very lackluster. He's just like, I wanna fuck. Where's the emotional intimacy, huh? Like, we could have had just like just for fun, but like, I don't know, man. I do not like his vibe. Vibe check. We're going to vibes immediately. Bad. Combat ability. Druids are pretty good as long as you pick Wild Shape Druid. The rest are booty. Wild Shape Druid is very good. Wild Shape Druid is the best Druid subclass you can choose in Dungeons & Dragons and in Baldur's Gate 3. It's just good. You get an extra health bar. You get a set of attacks. Wild Shape is just phenomenal, and you gotta choose it. Plus, you can have sex with Halsin when he's wild shaped into a bear. He's like, I also don't like that. That's weird. Not for the fact that it's a bear, but he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't keep my rage contained. I just wanted to fuck you like a bear. That's his reasoning, and I don't like it. Combat ability is like good. I don't like the rest. Halsin, F tier. Do not like him. Do not like his vibe. Next up, we have Menara. Menara is technically the only evil companion you can get. The only way to get Menara on your team, at least as of now, I think they might have updated the game. Initially on the release of the game, the only way to get Menara as a companion was to murder a town of women and children.
I killed them all. They're dead. Every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too.
What the fuck? Now, here's the thing. I did an evil run. I was so down for it. I'm like, I'll murder everyone. I'll do it. Ah, rah! But I did not like that was the only way to get her on your team. I'm pretty sure they updated the game, and there is a way to get her on your team without murdering a bunch of innocent people. But you know, where's the fun in that? Menara is a drow, and drow in Dungeons & Dragons, there's a whole history on the drow in Dungeons & Dragons that is very racist. We're not going to talk about that because that's a whole separate video. But drow in Dungeons & Dragons are kind of evil. I don't like that, but it's just how they are. And Menara is a worshiper of the main villain of the game, the Absolute. She wants to murder and maim game and kill for her god, which she's been brainwashed into doing so. Kind of like Shadowheart, but a little more extreme if you ask me. Menara dedicates her life to her goddess and her message, and eventually is cast out by it and is told to be murdered for her failures, which then you can save Menara and bring her onto your team. She's then a little disillusioned by the whole thing and is kind of like, you know, I like you. I like you a lot. Menara will actually sleep with you after murdering a bunch of women and children, which is a weird thing to get turned on by, but you know, some people. Menara, I wouldn't say is a complex character, but I think her story really does her justice. She comes from a place where violence and bloodshed and evil are encouraged. She's then indoctrinated into a murder cult that encourages murder, mayhem, evil. And for the most playthroughs, you can buy into this, but you can also kind of sway her away from this. I actually haven't finished Menara's romance quest, but from the videos I've seen, it's pretty good. Now, combat-wise, Menara is a paladin, and paladins in Baldur's Gate are sauced the fuck up. Paladins have these things called divine smites, and they are awesome. They're good in Dungeons & Dragons, they're good in Baldur's Gate. I personally love Menara on my team. She can heal, she can deal damage, she can tank. She is very versatile. Honestly, in most of my playthroughs, I have her on my team simply because she's so good at everything. Vibe-wise, Menara is, scary. Immediately, she tries to probe into your mind and be like, I'm going to kill everyone. And then when you do kill everyone, she's like, I'm going to sleep with you now. She's very intense, which some people are into. Did I fuck with it? A little bit. Menara is a prime example of women who can kill you are hot, just like the rest of the characters on this. She's a terrifying military leader. She is a terrifying diplomat. She is a terrifying woman that is very attractive. Menara, A tier. Now, we get to the last companion. I was saving him because lots of people have strong opinions about this man. Last, but certainly not least on our list, is Astarion. Astarion, the character. Neil Newborn, the actor who played Astarion, won Performance of the Year for his performance as Astarion. Just a heads up on how good this character is. Astarion is the most compelling character in all of Baldur's Gate 3, period. His story is nuanced and just so heartfelt. God, I love his backstory so much. Astarion is a vampire spawn, and for the last 500 years, he has been trapped in his master Cazador's basement, subjected to going out and finding prey for his master and bringing them back. The tale of Astarion is so tragic. He trusts no one. He's been alone for 500 years. His master abuses him day in and day out and forces him to do his bidding, and Astarion can do nothing about it. Years ago, his master carved runes onto his back that he has never been able to read because he can't see himself in a mirror. He's a vampire. Astarion has been alone for so long, and on initially meeting him, you can really feel that. He's very standoffish and very pompous, very much pretentious asshole vibes. He's like, oh, I'm so attractive, aren't I? It's ironic because, you know, he hasn't seen himself in 500 years. He talks about how attractive he is and how everyone else is beneath him. Astarion has this trauma tactic where it's the thing about, I'm gonna push people away before they can do the same to me because I've been alone for so long, I don't know how to trust anymore. And Neil Newborn conveys this so well in his performance, oh my god. At the beginning of the game, Astarion is pretty evil. All he knows is cruelty, so all he wants to do is inflict cruelty upon the world and others. But throughout the game, you get to show him love and cherish him and show him that he matters and that he's loved and cared for. And eventually, at the end of the game, you can go fight his old master Cazador. And the scene where he confronts him after the fact is so powerful. Neil Newborn does an amazing job in Astarion. I don't know, man. It's so good. It's so good. Like, I'm not even being hyperbolic. He won Performance of the Year. It is that good. The emotion that is conveyed through everything is just, it's so powerful. I don't know how else to describe it. Astarion's whole thing is that at his core, he just wants to be loved and cherished. And he has not felt love in 500 years. All he knows is pain and suffering, so he is trying to inflict that back on the world. But through interacting with him, you get through to his heart, and you can really see him change and his direction change. In the game, you have these things like where it's like this character approves or this character disapproves, and at the beginning, you're like, I'm gonna kick a child. Astarion approves. But by the end of the game, he is a genuinely good person because he has seen that there is good in the world and good in you, and he wants to do the same. I love Astarion. Love Astarion. And the ending is so sad, and I love him I love Astarion. Now, we're gonna go his combat abilities. Astarion is a rogue, and when you level him up, it'll initially put him into Arcane Trickster. So he's like a magic casty rogue. He's like Trixie. You do not pick Arcane Trickster. You choose Thief. You get 2 bonus actions. That is so fucking overpowered. You take dual wielding. You get dual wielding melee Astarion. You put him next to someone. You sneak attack and you stab him twice. Astarion is great to have on hand, not only for picking locks and shit like that, but because he is so he could output so much damage if you build him right. So the way that most people are gonna build him is gonna be like, it's gonna be decent, but if you really fucking min-max that shit, he's gonna be one of the top damage dealers on your team. Now, let's go to vibes. So this comment is less on Astarion and more on his fans. I've noticed a lot of discourse around Astarion and his behavior. A lot of his fans have done the thing where they've comicalized him. That's not the word. It's not flanderization, but it's like they've infantilized him. Like, oh, Astarion's baby girl, he's just a little guy, which he is. But they've done the thing where it's like, he is a good person. When, like, oh, Astarion would never do that. He's a good person. He can be a good person, but he starts off as a bad one. I see a lot of behavior attributed to Astarion and like fanfics and like fan art and stuff that honestly is more akin to Will. Hey, this is like day before posting, Danny. I just wanted to add something real quick. At this point in the video, I made a point that I didn't think I elaborated on very well, so I'm gonna make it here. To summarize, I love Astarion as a character. He successfully fills the role in Baldur's Gate as the epitome of traumatized, and I can fix him. He is one of the most screwed up, traumatized characters that you can help heal throughout the game of Baldur's Gate 3. And that's great. I do believe, though, that unfortunately, a lot of people have used Astarion to replace Will and his character in many aspects of the story and game of Baldur's Gate. Many of Astarion's behavior and attributes have been conflated with Will's for the sake of the fantasy created in people's mind. I do believe that, unfortunately, that is only natural. And the reason why is because of the lack of story attached to Will versus the abundance of amazing story and character attached to Astarion. And that's all I had to say. I think Astarion is characterized a little weird by people and the fandom, but again, I really think that's the fault of the writers, which is unfortunate. Anyways, back to regular Danny. Goodbye! I have issues with some of his fans, that's all I'm saying. But Astarion himself, great vibes. Again, his character progression, phenomenal. The voice acting, phenomenal. Astarion is such a fully rounded and fully developed character. It is awesome. It's like you take Astarion's story compared to Will's story, and it's like, did like half of the writers go to Astarion and just leave Will behind? Because that's what it feels like. What can I say, man? Vampire twink on top. Anyways, Astarion, of course, gets an S tier. This is my tier list, and I'm right. If you disagree with any of these rankings, go complain about it in the comments so I can read it and laugh at you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you agree or disagree. I'll actually read them, and maybe I'll respond. Make sure to get food, get water, take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you. Take your meds. The world is a bad place, but we can make it better. So go out and do something good for someone, even yourself. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace!